Yes, here we are. That song amps me up for real.
It does.
Oh yeah, that's the song. I'm gonna do something. That's not to somebody, maybe somebody, but I'm gonna do something to a project. That's when I wake up and I'm like, nothing's in my way. The sun didn't come up yet. I'm ready to rumble. I'm ready to do it. Everybody else is asleep, and I'm free, and I can get this thing done. Yeah. Anything get in my way gets steamrolled, for real. Walking down the street, I'm not moving. I'm knocking your shoulder off. If it's a roach in front of me, I'm stepping on you. We also have Mr. Political with us, but we still have the original sound problem where Empress Ola G can't hear Mr. Political. Mr. Political can't hear her.
Yes.
As we going on around, what happened? The wires didn't change. It's the same thing. We still gonna go on. That's why when things like that happen, well, Lance, you know you can't run the race. They chopped your leg off. Well, really, I'm gonna hop on one. There's no worry here. I just move forward, whatever it takes. That's right. If you took away my machine gun and we're fighting in a war and you give me a water pistol, I'll just mix some cayenne pepper and it get close to you, squirt it in your eye. I'm not going to stop. Anyway, how are you doing this morning?
I don't know.
Well, how are you? And grand rising to all my people, family, and friends. I've been blessed in the bottom of my coffee. Lance then reached out to me and I then reached out to him and we have touched hands. Like the 16th chapter.
Okay.
We, as Black men, concerning today's topic, I'm supposed to withdraw opinion. But if it bubbles like a bad stomach to answer this question. This is a no-brainer here for the ladies and the men. It is a no-brainer. When you see society lower a man's net worth to $1 that's only worth 43 cents, then you should not wonder why he don't want to marry a black woman. When you see a black man not able to interact with his children so he can feel confident that there's a bright future, then it's a no-brainer why he don't want to be married. Because you will get less treatment of respect if you marry them. At least when you have children out of wedlock, you don't have to be bothered other than paying the child support, which she negotiated in a settlement. So why should you get married? If you can't keep anything and you have to give her half, even though she did not help, but she was a hindrance, why should you get married? If she is not responsible for her own actions, but she's responsible for her body, but you have no choice in her body, why should you get married? Marriage is nothing but legalized prostitution. That's what I said. Legalized prostitution with a golden umbrella. That's why you shouldn't get married. That's why marriage is not on the table. That's why when the propaganda for justification through the church or through human services or through women whose biological clock is running, whatever justification that these three parties want to justify marriage becomes a joke. They are the only ones that's going to benefit from the marriage. Not the children, not the husband, not the family. Just those three individuals. Those core groups who are pushing marriage knowing that there is no benefit to any man. May he be black or white or even Afro-Americans. They need marriage more than anybody else because they confuse. Black people understand that marriage is nothing but legalized prostitution with a taint of slavery. It is not the same marriage that propagated this country. It's not the same marriage that built this country. It's not the same marriage that held this country together. That's a fantasy. That's a fantasy just like Snow White's a fantasy. Just like white Santa Claus is a fantasy. And even to go to more insulting, on the day that Christ is supposed to be risen, that the Easter bunny is a fantasy. Marriage is right up there with those colonial fantasies because it does not apply in 2022. It will not apply to 2022 because there is no benefit for a man to be married to a woman other than his children, and even then, you are not giving any rights to your children. It just makes the paperwork easier for those who want to exploit your marriage, want to exploit the phallus of your marriage, want to exploit the disillusion of your marriage. These things are all true. These things are not fabricated. These things are not taunted by those who are misogynists or those who do not want to live a better life if marriage offers a better life before the likelihood of a black American man living past the age of 65 because he was married could apply at one time. But it does not apply now. It hasn't applied in the last days. That if you are foolish enough to believe that your love, your relationship is going to be solid then you're mistaken. If you believe by marrying this woman, which statistics shows that 9 out of 10 times, for whatever reason, I'm not going to point fingers, that women are the first to file for divorce, but the first to say that marriage will sustain their relationship. It has been found, and this, you can't make this up, that the vast majority of infidelities in the last 2 decades have been by women. And the birth of their children have shown it to be true. When you are married and you have to get a DNA test for a child, that means that you ain't got no marriage. You ain't never had no marriage. And that for you as an individual woman to lean upon a DNA test to secure your position so you can go out and get a divorce because you got caught cheating with a baby. Now you want to make sure that your financial situation is secure by securing the paternity of the baby with the man that you married, with the marriage that you destroyed. Now, men are not free from this behavior, and let it be told, and I'm not going to say it's the truth, I'm just going to say let it be told, that men led the charge in infidelity, that men manipulated the relationship, that men took for granted of his blessing, if that's what you want to call marriage, a blessing. At one time, and hear me carefully, at one time, and this is not the time, marriage was the strong foundation of this country. But now marriage is nothing but a financial up for the female. That's why men don't get married. When they got married in the beginning, it was a up for the male. It was security for the female. And it was establishment of the family. Now, marriage is nothing but a stepping stone to financial security by racking up babies and alimony. That's all it is. So there's no need to marry them. There's no need to look at them for you to marry them, because they are out searching for men to marry them. They have forgot how marriage works. The man selects the woman. The woman does not select the man. Unfortunately, in the new world that we live in, girl rock, the woman is out there picking the man. Go figure. That's why she ain't got no marriage. That's why the baby daddies don't want to be bothered with you. Because you out there picking the man, but you want him to hold all the responsibility. I wouldn't get married. I was married one time, 27 years ago. Loved my wife, respected my wife. It was not always that way. When we first started out, we couldn't stand each other. And she truthfully had grievance with my behavior, which I have no problem with that because I was not under chattel to her. I was not governed by her papers of ownership. I was not manipulated into believing that I was a possession primarily based upon my color and my gender alignment with my race. Now you say, well, the brother threw all that in there. I threw all that in there to get you to understand that marriage is a dual-edged sword. It's not a three-edged sword, it's a dual-edged sword, where each individual human being, not the gender, each individual human being have purpose, have roles to play. And one of the roles to play is not all the parts in the marriage. Now, when we look at the modern woman today, she wants to play all of the characters in the play. She wants to produce. She wants to be in charge of the lighting. She wants to be in charge of the snack bar. She wants to even be in charge of the insurance to make sure that nobody gets paid but her. Yeah, that's what I said. She want to be in charge of the security to make sure that nobody gets paid but her. Now you say, well, that's an angry man. That's a man who has issues with women. No, that is a man who is exercising his rights under the Constitution and his genetic right to be critical of the next breeding stock. Yeah, that's what I call you, because that's all your net worth is now as a breeding stock. You're free. You're more free than they was under Reconstruction. You're free. You're more free than you was under the Civil Rights Act, 64 and 68. You're free. All right? You don't need no Gloria Steiner standing in front of no Capitol building saying that we have rights, because you've always had the right. But the rights that you were giving, you manipulated. You destroyed. You redefined your purpose under God and your position in life and as in the family. So it's no need for any man to sacrifice his future. That's what I said. Any man to sacrifice his future, because that's what you do when you marry a modern woman today. You sacrifice your humility, your self-pride, your ability to think for yourself, the ability to plan for your future and your children's future and your family. Okay? Husband has been replaced with partner. It's a business. And she's telling you, the minute she says it's a partnership, that you are the employee and she is the employer. And that at her leisure, under her feeble-minded right-to-work state, that she would discard your work, your labor, your effort, your dedication, your loyalty, all those positive words which are used in a relationship to make it long-lasting. She will throw it. She will cast it upon the wind, because she is always, and she has been conditioned by her handlers to always exercise her right to an option. But if you exercise your right, and this is where marriage falls short under the new modern female, if you exercise your right, then you're a heinous individual with low moral standards who do not value the net worth of the so-called good woman, if that is what she is portraying with those negative traits that she is bringing in as a modern woman. The modern woman needs to chase some carpet, because you will be more comfortable with carpet that has the same cycle that you do, that has the same deviant projection of what marriage is, who has the same deceptive and no loyalty to any individual but themselves, not even their children. Men today are exercising their options. And since this program is primarily for Black people, we allow and we accept and we invite all races to examine a conscious conversation about our heritage, our relationships, our shortcomings, and our slights. And in this, I say this openly to the Black women and the Black men who are listening, that Black men are exercising their right to choice. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to the family. If they all have the same equipment, but it comes in different makes and models and different shades, I guarantee them same 4 wheels or 2 legs will go up and down the same highway as the other. It doesn't make a difference what color that vehicle is. And when you're in an atmosphere where that you are not viewed as a net worth, but as an employee in a partnership, which is supposed to be classified as a marriage, then there is no need to get married. If you do get married, exercise your options. You have the option, just like she did in 1982, when the conversation started talking about black women dating white men. In 1992, the conversation was the six-figure man. In 2020, the conversation was about, I don't need you. Well, I'm telling you now, in the conversation in 2022, the script has flipped and we don't need you. It would be nice in a perfect world if we could truly believe as black men that the sisters are on our team. And that is not correct. Just like America, the black American woman is exploiting the black male for any financial gain, any political any social position. She will use it and she will climb on the black male. The sense and the rhetoric from the far left is that my sisters are on our team. But in actuality, that is not the case. They're exercising their options. And I will advise you to not exercise marrying them. Now, some will say that's negative, Mr. Political. But it's real. That your likelihood of spending a lifetime with a black American woman is nil. Our fathers, our mothers, our grandfathers did it. But they come from a better stock, a higher stock, and a more diverse stock in Mr. Charlie's manipulation of one's life and family and relationship. Because that's what's going on. My sister's got too much weed and too many Caucasians in their ear. And the Caucasians are talking to other sisters who are putting negative flavor in sisters' ear. Because, as we all know, when it's dealing with black women, that they hate each other more than they hate us. We're just the symptom. We're just the excuse. So they can propagate, they climb up the ladder. So they can hate on other black women. That's what they do. They've been doing it. We've been in a position for so long of kowtowing based upon individuals wanting to get next to that carpet. That everything in our lives, when it comes down to dealing with them, primarily is focused on getting next to that carpet. All right? Getting next to that carpet comes with a lot of tracks. Comes with knee burns, rug burns, all kind of stuff. And if you know this, why would you marry based upon your love for the carpet? Because you don't love the person. Because if you love the person, you be realistic about your expectations out of that individual when it comes down to relationships and marriage. I've seen a young lady on YouTube, because constantly I review these things to draw conclusions about what direction we're going. Because these are real life people with real life situations who are living in a fantasy world. I seen a chick with purple hair. She's kind of cute, but she had purple hair. That ain't my thing. I don't think that's cute at all. Right? But for those who think it's cute, you go do what you do. Just keep in mind that that color came in a bottle. It's not original. So if she don't keep it touched up and you don't check the carpet, that ain't her original color. I'm just saying. In this chick is having an emotional breakdown because the man that she wants to marry She done found out that he a do boy, not a major dope. She on YouTube crying. She all upset. She about to fall apart. You know what I'm saying? We got to get her tissues. We got to make sure she don't drop none of the snot from her nose onto the counter and mess up the video. This chick is just boo-hooing because she done found out that her fiance is not a major dope dealer, that he just a do-boy, that they tap him on the shoulder, he go get the weed, they tap him on the shoulder, he got the roll up, he got the cut grass, all that. He ain't no major player, that the little pistol that he got is registered. Ooh, okay, watch that now. Hey, the little pistol he got is registered, a little gangster move he just stole from the video. You know, he stand in front of in the mirror, just like Mussolini, practicing his stance and his posturing, and he getting it together, and he getting his look together. And he just went down there and got his dreads tip gold. You know how they rolling. They all listening to it. They got gold mouth, and hopefully they'll make it to 60. They won't be employed with all that gold in their mouth, but they'll make it to 60, and that's a blessing in its own right because black people need to have longevity. But just imagine if he was married with all of that. Just imagine he was married, he living a life, the chick is down by law. She's like, ooh, this my big head. This my big nigga. I'm gonna live, I'm fabulous, Cristal, all that. But when reality sets in, and bills got to be paid, mortgage got to be paid, children have to have medical attention. And if you love your daughter like I did, thank God I didn't have to go through it. You have to braces on them. And my baby girl had a bad leg, but we went through therapy and she became a #1 volleyball player. Those are things that you're going to face when you get into a marriage as a man, and your whole focus, all that fantasy, all that movie video, all that fuck talk, all that go by the wayside when you become a man. You can always tell the boys from the men, because the boys are always searching some kind of fashion. The boys is always chasing some kind of haircut or something that makes them attracted to stupid women. That's how you tell a boy. A man, he don't really care. He got too many other things going on. He got bills to pay. He got shit to fix at the house. He got children, got problems. He got his homeboys and they children got problems, and we all working together to try to keep the family going, try to keep and support each other. So if you sit there and you go to the Wawa, because we're in Florida and we love to go to our Wawa, and we go to the Wawa and we sit and we talk, and the conversation goes like this: hell no. Is you crazy? You don't plan on having nothing. You plan on dying by yourself being the poet. Because if you marry that woman, that's exactly what's going to happen. That at her leisure, she will go to bed at 8 o'clock at night and will wake up at 3:40 in the morning and tell you that the marriage is over. She can't explain why the marriage is over. All she knows is it's your fault. That you changed. You're not the person. You got all these problems. You raise your voice at her. You don't respect her. But nowhere in the conversation, in the disillusion of the marriage at 3 in the morning, will she talk about any of the things that she came short at, or she didn't take care of, or she wasn't a provider, or she did not follow the food triangle, or she did not maintain a house, or she didn't pull her side of the weight. Because you cannot be measured as white women when it comes down to a black marriage. Hear me one more time. You cannot be married. You cannot be measured. And for all of y'all that don't know what measured means, Google it. You cannot be measured as a white woman in a black marriage. Now, you can be married, you can be measured as a white woman married to a black man, or a white man married to a black woman, but you cannot take those white people's way of life and thinking and put it into play in your marriage. You can't. And for those who believe that they could do that, I see you in divorce court. Well, in actuality, I won't see you in divorce court. I see you in child support court because that's where I make my bread at. That's where I dig my bodies out of the ground. Now, in child support court, they don't care that you was an upstanding daddy and you fell into the lurch. All they care is about her cries of abuse, her cries of neglect, her cries of enablement, her cries of just being a man and I need somebody to blame the shit on. You will notice that if you choose to wade through the jungle looking for marriage, that you will find a serpent around every stump. Not a tree, a stump. Because the only reason you'll find a serpent around each stump is because that serpent been cut down the tree. That serpent that destroyed life. That serpent wanted everything to stop. The same serpent who persuaded 4,000 years ago a woman to eat an apple. That same serpent that another individual, I'm not going to mention his name because people keep getting him mixed up with all kind of other, religious leaders, religious icons, all of that. I'm not going to mention his name. You know who I'm talking about. He told her, he said, hey, look, his sister guy. Don't you be chewing on my fruit. I'm going to have to go into the great eviction. I'm going to have to kick you out. I'm going to have to go down to the courthouse. I'm going to get some paperwork. I'm going to get a junction. You're going to be on the street, you and your leaf. And y'all truly will be buck naked and shame will come into play. So you go and you hang out with that serpent and you listen to that serpent. And that serpent will cut down your life and everybody else's life. And the life that I speak about is marriage. See, the man has already realized that there's a serpent in the play when it comes down to a woman's inalienable right to be married. Now, for 5 decades, she's redefined her role within the household based upon government intervention. She's redefined her net worth to her children and her spouse. I love that word, spouse. It's right up there with husband, but that's not the word that they use today. The word they use today is partnership, because they're CEOs of the bullshit. And they got to keep the corporation in line. Well, if you've been paying attention, the vast majority of black males, they choose to be unemployed when it comes down to getting employed by them sister gals. I don't want to work hard so you can live good, all the while you treat me like less than. I don't want to work hard and provide for children, but you psychologically mold to hate me and find that the next net worth is not of substance. I don't need to be married to see you take my male children and delegate them to slavery, right along with your white master and your white system which you love so much, while you degrade him and lower him so he can be of no net worth to the next generation. Because all of this low self-esteem, all of this violence, all of this moral debauchery is coming out of 4 decades of women being head of households and not taking responsibilities and going out in the streets and saying that men did all that when they know that they did not allow them in the household, would not want them in the household, and did not care about their opinion in the rearing of their children. So there is no need to get married. You do better hanging out by yourself. You do better hitting the carpet when you want to and then preparing for your old age by yourself. Yeah, that's what I said. Prepare for old age by yourself. Do not invest in your children other than giving them a formal education because you owe them that much. But once you have provided it and they have made the conscious choice to take it or not take it, then you owe them nothing. Their mother owes them everything. Mother gets the glorification for everything. Discontinue funding their lives, especially when you are viewed as less than a human being and you are not given any gravity of respect. This is something that has been going on in our country for 3 decades. Father's Day is a joke. It is a joke. Mother's Day is even a bigger joke because you got women running out there because they was hoes being glorified as mothers when you know that they ain't did anything. Why would you marry anything like that? There used to be a time in this country a woman can have 14 children. I swear to God, this really happened. A woman had 14 children, let's say about 14 different men. Okay, we don't want to do the math on how she split up the sheets that night. So we just going to say that she had 14 children, about 14 different men. That still don't sound good. But if we say she had 14 children by 4 different men, then she was a frequent flyer and she don't know how to keep her legs closed and the board of health needs to run up on her and put some yellow tape around her thigh. Okay, because that's clearly a caution warning. But let's just say that it was a time back in the 60s, 50s, and 40s that a man would make that ultimate sacrifice because he truly in his heart found love for that woman and grown to love those children. He made every sacrifice, every dollar he would take, and even if he had to go out in that field and pick 4 bags of cotton, he would take $2, which they probably only gave $2. He would split that $2. $1 is to maintain that house, and $1 is to put away for a rainy day so his children could always have. That was a man worth respecting. Let's just imagine in 2022 that same that woman exists, excuse me, and that she had multiple children, 14, by multiple men, not just one, that she was confronted with a brother who found love for her and those children. Now, that would be a great thing by society standards, living the times that we're living in. That would be a glorious thing for everyone to go to the top of the hill, shoot off fireworks, and wave flags to the thought that a black man would be that responsible. But this was not. Let's keep in mind that this is part of our culture. This is something that we have done for many a decades in this country, right? We've even went out and married women who've had 8 and 9 children without a blinking of an eye, right? We did this thing. We did this out of the fact that we could put a union together and we could take black children and push them to a higher level by having this union, that the battle could be fought even swifter if there were 2 sets of eyes looking at the battlefield. But today, that is not the circumstance. Today, that dream, that fact, cannot be put in play today. No rational thinking man with the behavior of American women today would not dare even want to do anything but slap on a condom and run up in it and run away. So that's all you can do with that. If you commit to that, she will abuse you in manners that you cannot even imagine. That the baby daddies will take precedence over your household and your direction of that family. That her perception of being independent with your finances is her only goal. That she can really give a damn because you're replaceable. You're not even as valuable as a donut. A donut has more purpose than you. At least they can resell the holes in the middle. You don't even have that kind of luxury. It's shameful that we have to be looked at as a donut hole. That even in the waste of creating a product which is sold over the counter, that the leftovers should be of some network, the donut hole. That's what the Black American man is today, the donut hole. And being that he is the donut hole, and donut holes come in glazed and cake and brownie and blueberry. They come in all kind of different flavors. But that donut hole has an option. He can either have milk, he can either have coffee, he can even either have tea. He can even have a fruit smoothie. Okay? Hear what I'm saying? He can even have a fruit smoothie. Because he got options now. That you played the game so close to the flame that we can't even compare you to Icarus. That you falling from grace is not a gradual descension from the top of the ivory tower. It is a catastrophic fast falling. Some would even compare it to suicide, because that's what you're doing. So if you believe that these qualities portrayed by American Black women, I'm not talking about our allies who get them a piece of meat on the drive-by sexual intercourse. I'm talking about my sisters, if I can even use that, because if you was really my sister and me being the brother, I would have to hem you up, because I am deeply concerned about the stability of my family. That it is not your place to go out and pick a husband. Because if you rely on your judgment, then you will never get married. If you rely on your conscious understanding of the Black male, you will never get married. If we rely on your inability to hold responsibilities about your capability, then all you do is make it possible for you not to get married. These are things that are real. And if you can't go to another man and say, who know you, who spent some time with you and is not sexually involved with you, and say to him, look, I didn't have enough of the game. I'm gonna put a safeguard on my little carpet, and I'm gonna go out there and I'm a sit, but I need you to help as my brother, because I know you know the phallus of your brother. So could you help me by directing me towards some decent men? Because it's very simple. If you know, every woman knows a decent man. She just don't want to get involved with the decent man, because the decent man ain't no fun. Decent man don't play no games. Decent man is not going to pacify your insecurities with your ignorance. A decent man is not going to sit up there and pay his way into loving you. That's why they don't fuck with decent men. If you fuck with a decent man, then you may have a possibility of having a life. And if you really look at the big picture, they do everything to avoid a decent man. They purposely go out and get the lower of the bottom so they can later on claim that it's not them, it's him. But ultimately, at the end of the day, when you look at the tail of the tape, you made the choice. He didn't choose you, you chose him. At any time, you could have said, I don't want to be messed up with him because he got a criminal record. He got multiple baby dad. You know, all of that. Don't give me the excuse. That's all that's out there, because you know what? You can go lick on carpet, because that's your next step. Whether you say you don't like carpet or not, that's your next step. You keep on going after these negative men and going to social agencies and saying that the men have the problem, but you making the final choice See, when you talk to somebody that understands relationships, will understand and has time in relationships and seeing the changes of what is required to be in a relationship, then you look stupid. You look ignorant. All right, sitting up there starting the conversation where he did this, he did that, he did this, but you want a husband, but you always end up with the wrong men. That means that you got a problem with judgment. You don't know what a decent man is. And the vast majority of Black American women don't know what a decent man is. Don't even have a clue because they caught up in their elevation. They caught up, how the song say? You're feeling yourself. You're feeling yourself so much that you cannot recognize a good man. That you don't know what a good man looks like. You don't even know what he smells like. You know what some pecker look like. You know what some pecker tastes like. You even know, as nasty as you is, know what some pecker smell like. But you don't know what a good man is. You can't even put that in the category. And just because he shoots some dollars your way, or he pay your light bill, or he enable your insecurities, that don't make him no good man. All right? How about you roam near the porch and grab the alpha out the porch and leave the beta to sit up there and lick his nuts? That's what you do. If you do that, then you can guarantee that dog, that alpha dog, he will hunt. The beta dog, he just gonna sit there and lick his nuts. That's what they do. That's why you go after them. Because you like the way he licked them nuts. When you get tired of being fascinated with licking nuts and you want something better for yourself, it's going to start with one, taking personal responsibilities and understanding that it's not for you to select a man, it's for the man to select you. 2, work on your insecurities before you blame your insecurities on him. 3, his financial situation is not your concern. You have 4 decades through government intervention, human services, and even the UN to secure yourself financially based upon the education and the training that you obtain in this modern world. It is not a man's responsibility to provide for you any longer. It is not a man's responsibility. See, these are criteria that are being put up for Black people based upon white people's desire for what they want. And in assimilation, those who want to assimilate feel that these standards apply to them when it's clearly shown each and every day in society's actions and words and behavior towards you that those things do not apply to you. So if you continuously applying them in your relationship and you see how negative these things are, that your position did not bring you anything but negativity, you will never find a husband, and no man will really ever want you to be his wife. You can be my side piece. You can be my knocker, my nigga knocker on the headboard. But you can't be no wife. And I'll be damned if I be your partner. These things need to be taken into consideration, gentlemen. These things need to be viewed critically before you get married, before you even give reservation to the ideology that marriage would make your life better. Because in the vast majority of circumstances in this modern world, marriage is not going to make your life better. Life is going to give you additional stress, and you will die even sooner than you would if you had not been married. These things must be taken into consideration. You see the standard that women are put upon and the possibilities of you having a male child with this unholy union, because that's what it's going to be, an unholy union. If you think by being there and tolerating her abuse, her verbal abuse, her physical abuse, her financial abuse, that you're setting a foundation for a better family for your male offspring who are viewing your degradation, your lowering, your demasculization. If that's your goal in seeking marriage with these women of this color, and don't get me wrong, because even the milk, even the fruit smoothie, even the tea, even the cafe, it doesn't make a difference. If she's a bad seed, she's a bad seed. If she's been programmed by social services and she take up the world of the street, then that's what you're going to get. Unfortunately, I don't have a cure for it. Unfortunately, I don't even have conscious advice other than be healthy, other than the fact that stay away from that situation. And if you're confronted with that situation, be honest about it and tell them the truth. Why should I get married? Why should marriage even be brought into this conversation? I'm not going to benefit from marriage. My longevity on this earth is not going to be extended by marriage. My financial situation is not going to get better. My moral standards and mental security of my children is not going to be guaranteed because there's a defective product which I have to deal with. And this defective product does not even know that it has defect. And until that product is took off the market and researched a little bit more, smoothed out a little bit more, then it's counterproductive to marry that product. Counterproductive to even go into a conversation concerning talking about future marriage. Marriage is supposed to be a lifetime commitment, not an option for financial gain. There is a strange, morbid form of love out today. And love being the word that's been misused throughout history in all different contexts, the most misused word in all of the world. This new love, which justifies marriage. Nah. Leave that alone, bro. Leave that alone. That pot hot. Stay away from that stove, because if you touch it, you're going to burn yourself. It's not worth it. You're not going to benefit. Okay? You will find out, just like a great deal of us, that you're either going to have to shit or get out the pot. Because once you get married, that's what's going to have to happen. You're going to have to either shit or get off the pot. Because once you marry her, you are constantly, each and every day of your life, being threatened with child support and divorce. And after a while, those threats make you say, what the fuck? Why am I even married? Because that's all she got. She can't hold on to you with cooking. She can't hold on to you with she reared children. She can't hold on to you with her sex. She can't hold on to you with no other way than out of threatening you with the white man's tool that she was given to oppress you. And that's a team player. Oh, if you don't do this, you don't allow me to do this, then I'm just going to file for divorce and I'll put you on child support. You see what I'm saying? Why would you even want to get married in a situation where a person would even lay that kind of threat? And it's just a matter of time. Once you say I do, she will lay that threat. And when she lay that threat, the marriage is over. The marriage is over because it was never imagined. You know from that jump, from that point on, why she married you. Because there, all the way up to the point that you say I do, you're going to be questioning why she married you. But the minute she don't get what she want and she tell you she'll divorce you and put you on child support then you knew why she married you. It shouldn't be no big surprise. It's just a matter of time. It don't make a difference. I don't care how perfect you think she is. The minute she says those two things, you know your marriage is over and that you never had a marriage. It was never a marriage from the beginning. The minute she threatened you with divorce and child support, it's over. And I advise you to pack your shit and leave. Don't even go into no debate with her. I don't care if you have to sleep in your car. I don't care if you have to sleep behind the 7-Eleven. Your best pursuit is the minute she say that, don't come back home. Yes, that's the advice I'm giving men. The minute in the midst of a marriage, she says she want to file for divorce or she want to put you on child support because she ain't getting her way, the best thing for you to do is to stay silent, let her have her moment, let her do whatever she want to do, and then when she wake up the next day, you be gone. Don't give no explanation. I don't care if it's children in the house. Just leave. Because it's a matter of time before she will put molestation charges on you, or she'll try to fabricate some crap. I'm trying to tell you, the minute in any conversation, if she say that she would do that, you know that your marriage is over, that your marriage been over, that you're being kept there as a slave under intimidation. Or even if I could even go as far to even say indentured servitude. Look it up, Google it. Indentured servitude. That is what marriage is today. Indentured servitude. When you get to that point and she says the blessed words, you know that the best thing for you to do is soon as they get daylight, because they love to say that shit when it get dark. The minute it get daylight, and you have to go to work, you pack yourself a carry bag, put it in the trunk of your car, and you just don't go back home. She gonna do it anyway, so it doesn't make a difference if you go back or you don't go back. Just leave her. Don't give her no explanation. Don't go pay no bills. Don't pay nothing. This is what I'm advising men, because the minute in a marriage when a woman says those two things, that she is already plotted against the marriage. She's already got somebody in the wing wall that she's been dealing with for some time. She can say whatever she wants. I didn't sleep with him. I didn't meet with him. Well, I'm not even going to assume that you're telling the truth, because I can assume that your group, your gender, will lie, will hide, will misrepresent things. So we're not even going to go through whether or not she's telling the truth or not. That's part of the confusion. While you sitting there trying to figure out whether or not she's telling the truth or not, that you've been screwed over. So the best thing to do is just walk away. Walk away. And the minute you walk away from your job, you go take a day off and go down to the clerk of the court and put yourself on child support. And you can put yourself on child support for $20 a week, based on a financial affidavit, the same financial affidavit that she submits to the court too, which out of most financial affidavits that go into the clerk of the court are false financial affidavits. They cannot claim that your financial affidavit is false without investigating her financial affidavit. The minute they say you have given a false financial affidavit, you are to request that both financial affidavits be investigated. If she comes in the court and misrepresents stuff without documentation and the female judge go along with it, then you ask that that female judge be recused based upon her gender. And that ends all conversation. Because see, we can get a gay guy in there and he can choose whether the fish or the meat deserve the child. Because that's how the gay guy going to look at it. He's going to look at it out of the fish or the meat. Even though his preference may be the meat, he feels some camaraderie with the fishes. So that's an even swap or swindle other than a white female, which don't like either one of them based upon their color. Now, I didn't have my moment. Opinion.
Okay. Whoa.
Lance has always been grateful.
My brother.
Yes, sir.
Yes. We have a couple of
Yes.
we have a couple of questions and statements that I said to everybody in the room that was going to be fair and ask. And I want to go back to Sweetest Princess. She said basically, I hope he addresses my question. What about white females who does our men wrong worse that actually have money? I kind of didn't understand it. Did she mean that they have money or the men have the money? But she also made the statement that black women are always looked at negative, but not the white females who do the very same thing.
I don't mind answering that question. I don't mind answering either one of those questions. If the female got money, then welcome to the club, because men didn't have money for over what? 200 years in this country, and maybe it's time for you to spend some of your money. Point blank. Okay, because you're free now. You should pay for dinner. You should pay for things just like men pay for things. All right? There's no need for chivalry when there is no respect for ladies to be chivalrous for. That's a bunch of bullshit. Chivalry was created to protect women who were of caliber and substance. Now, if you got your own money, you do what you do. You go get you a playboy in Jamaica. You go get you a boy down in Guyana. You get you a boy down there off the streets in the hood in Chicago. It don't make none. You spend your money. You be real about the situation. Now, why do black women always seem to be the one to carry the brunt, always seem to be the one to be demonized? Well, I can't answer that question for you. All you got to do is sit in front of YouTube and listen to the music, and you will answer your own damn question. Okay, it's very simple. If you do not
He just
buy
hit the nail on
into
the
the
head.
madness, if you're not saying something about your sisters who are buying into the madness, if you are giving them support mentally, verbally, or even socially in their negative behavior, then you reap what you sow. Just like men. Each and every day in America, the black man has to go to the other black man and say, don't act this way. Don't do the sister like that. Don't take advantage of your children. How about the sister get off of her 28-day cycle and say something to your sister? How about you check that one out? How about you ride that one out? How about the sisters be proactive in their own elevation and put a sister in check? Because it's most apparent, clearly apparent, that if I do it, I'm classified as a misogynist. I hate black women. I can't wait to get on a white chick. All kind of negative shit. But if you are urged, if the ball is put in your court and we say, we want to fix the problem as men. We can't fix this problem by ourselves. We need you to speak up. We need you to disassociate yourself. We need you to come out in PDAs and say, this is not what we stand for. This is not what we're about. And them sisters that doing that shit belong to the slave master, which created them through human services. But until that day come, then all of y'all responsible for this. Even the one that don't participate, even the one that speak out to other men and say, don't do this, and don't do this, that I don't hear no sisters saying. And it's very few sisters who do say it. On YouTube, there's quite a bit because they've had enough. And they're not cutting their tongue. They're not sitting up there trying to give you no girl rock moment. They're not sitting up there pacifying your insecurity because you fat or because you ain't got no hair or because your breast too small or you ain't got a fat booty or he don't buy you this or he don't buy you that or he don't do this on Facebook. Bump all that. You have to take responsibility. And if you are being affected by these women's behavior, which is giving this wrong negative opinion to black men, then you need to be the first to step up and say, we are not going to tolerate this more. You misrepresented my gender. You are giving people a false perspective of who we are and what we are and how we are loyal to our men. And until that happens, then all y'all can kick rock and you all will be held responsible. Okay? Because that's how you do it. Did that answer your question?
I guess so. You've been swinging. The other question is that from Shanika X. She says, I'm curious to know what, basically the way she wrote it is basically what is a decent man? Since you spoke about decent men, and we have others who are making comments that, and this is another comment, that was a question, what makes a decent man? The other comment was that it was spoken, I forgot the name,
okay.
to scroll up, basically saying that,
look,
go ahead with that one. Go ahead with that one.
Look, let's be realistic about this. There was only one decent man. And now they're questioning his existence. And that was Jesus Christ. The minute you wake up to being a man is unbeknownst to any of us. It is just a period of time where things click in and you see the negative things that you've done in your life and how you treated people, and you say no more, that this is not part of my life. Women are always looking for a quick fix, okay? It ain't no man running around America with a sign saying, I'm a good man, because there is no such creature. This was made up by your white master. The standard and the mark was created by your white master and his minions. The good man is the man who respects you. The good man who wants to be with you. Not during the good times, not in the club, not in the bed, but during the bad times and in the lean times. That's a good man. A good man does not spend his time prepping, trying to look pretty, trying to be cool, working on his swagger. A real man ain't got time for that. Those who are living in a fantasy world and who have made up their mind to be a man, they're just wearing the marquee of a man. If he sit up there and he old enough to be old enough with you and he wearing children's clothes, then he not a man. If he got his hat on the side and he got gold chains around his neck and he playing this pokey role, because I love pokey, and if they playing this pokey role, then that's not a man. All right? Do not measure manhood on society standards. Because the minute you measure manhood on society standards, you done fucked up. You ain't got no man. And that's real talk. And I know the vast majority of women don't want to hear this. The one that you look at that you think ain't nothing, that ain't no baller and ain't all right, that your good man right there. That your good man. The one that ain't cute, that ain't got the earring and the fancy car and all of that, that your good man. If he working in the school and you go to the school and he behind a garbage can pushing and cleaning that building, you will never know. That could be his part-time job. That man could be a CEO of a company. A good man does not need a title to work a job. Nor does he bicker over the money. He takes his skills, his talent, and his net worth to where he can market it. Now, if you keep relying on society to define what a good man is, then you won't get you no good man. Now, if you go outside of what society say what a good man is, what your sisters say what a good man is, what the NAA say is a good man, what the Negro colleges say is a good man, and all of those political and social and view and all of them, if you go by their standards, you will never get a good man. But if you go back to the basics, the necessary need for a long-lasting relationship, then they're all around you. They're all around. They're only a fingertip away. All you got to do is just reach out. Take that weave out your hair. Take the nails off. Stop wearing tight clothes that give you yeast infections. Put your stomach away, but that's not sexy. You will find a good man. You're not going to find no good man in church. That's the wrong place to look for a good man in church. All you're going to find in church is those who are working on their sinful ways. That's what you're going to find in church. Those who are working on their sinful ways. Because you'll never have to look for a sinner because they're all in church. And that's real. So if you want to grab one out of that, don't be surprised if it don't work out for you. Okay? Go to the basics. That average guy that all the sisters overlook, they laugh at and they giggle at, that is your good man. Everything that you want for you and your children and every future you want for you and your children is right there at your fingertips. But you choose not to give him a chance because he does not meet the standards of society. And if he doesn't meet the standards of society, you don't want to be fucked up with him because you're more concerned about the heifers, the stanky heifer cows, and what they think. And then you taking advice from women who are just as fucked up as you. That's the crazy part. You taking advice from women who are just confused just like you are, and you ain't got sense enough to realize that. Because if her advice was of any net worth, she would have a good man. So before you take advice from your sisters about what is a good man, before you take advice from Human Services on what a good man is, before you take advice from the Black Congressional Caucus what a good man is, HBU colleges, law fraternity, bishops and bastards out of the church, whatever, because you got to keep in mind, they screwed up. So you can't, the blind can't lead the blind. So you know what you get? You get blind dogs, blind children, and blind sticks. And the worst thing in the world to have is a blind seeing eye dog and a blind seeing eye cane. That means you just all screwed up. That you can never get from point A to point B. So it is very simple to find a good man. He's right there at your fingertips and you don't even know it. Because you caught up in society standards. And I hope I answered my sister's question. It may not be as articulate and Caucasian white as necessary to get her to understand that the good man is right at your fingertips. All you got to do is change your way of projection. All you got to do is change your selective process. All you got to do is eliminate all those things that you learned in the dating process that led you to the belief that you want a good man. You need to scrap all of that. You got to remove all of that out the way. When you remove all of that out the way, that good man, you will touch him. But always keep in mind that it is not up to your selection. It's up to him. Because at the end of the day, he's the one that's got to make the great sacrifice. All right? And a lot of women don't see it like that. But when you bring other problems, other people's children, other baby daddies, your lack of education, your lack of home skills, and all you got is a used, retreaded uterus that got more miles on it than a 721 tire. It ain't got a steel belt in it. It's just a regular old tire that's just worn out, and you think that it's the best thing smoking, but it's not. It's just a uterus just like everybody else's uterus. And just because you do freaky shit and hang from the ceiling and you're headboard nigga knocker, don't mean that you got the bomb diggy punani. Because you're gonna need more than a punani to keep him. With the good man, he'll work with you. If he chooses you and he want to be with you, you can get whatever you want out of him. You can go whatever direction you want. You can even get a father for your children. All you got to do is scrap society standard. Don't buy into people who've been lying to you from Jump Street, and you figure you ain't got nowhere else to go, so you might as well just deal with the lie. You might as well roll with the lie. Because just like they tell you, if you tell a lie long enough, it becomes true. And that's a fact. And that's part of America. So my sisters, in their pursuit of happiness, you're not going to be happy until you scrap your old self and look for a new self.
Whoa.
I don't know. But just how it is, bro. I mean, if we're going to have an adult conversation, we're going to be adults in the room. We're not going to look for the moment to give a snack and nap presentation for the kiddies in the room. No, this is an all 100% adult conversation about why black men don't want to be married, why black men are exercising their options, why black men have got to the point that there is no shame in strolling with someone of another race. Okay? We've given up on you. We've looked at you as negative. And that goes for the top and the bottom, those with money and those without money. You allowed your alliance to Mr. Charlie to destroy the possibilities of the black American family. And it's not all on the brother, okay? Because it takes two to do wrong. It just happened to be your turn to do wrong. Did you hear what I just said? It takes two to do wrong. It just happened to be her turn to do wrong. But will she, as the one who was screaming loudest, be able to go inside herself and say what the problem is? No, she's not going to do that. She will continue putting the blame on every situation other than her responsibility. And I would love to have a conscious conversation with any woman about women's responsibilities, because I've heard it for 4 decades of what my responsibilities are. But to get them to articulate what they bring to the marriage, other than spouting other individuals' accomplishments or duties, we're asking what the women of 2022 bring to the table, other than money and punani and children. Right? What form of happiness makes you so desirable? What are you offering that is making me feel that there is no other choice but you? You can't answer that question. Very few black women can answer that question. Our mothers could answer that question. Our grandmothers can answer that question. Our aunts can answer that question. Even my granddaddy's side piece could answer that question. But the modern woman today, she cannot answer that question. Nor would she be willing to go into a civil debate about the question. Her inability in this matriarch system which she is trying to create and propagate is going to be her downfall. It's going to be her children's downfall, and that her leadership, her conscious, wise example, if we could even call that tomfoolery which she lived upon as wise example, would turn out to be the downfall of her children. That selfishness and her inability to check her own sisters who are destroying the process. And like I say, both sides have done wrong. It just happened to be her time to do wrong. That's what it is. And it's going to last for maybe another 5 years, and then they're going to have an awakening moment. Because what's going to occur is that you're going to see a vast increase of interracial children. Okay, and the interracial children are going to come out better than the full black children. I hate to say it, but that's what's going to happen. All right, and I know sisters are quite upset to hear a black man say that your child has a better chance in a biracial relationship than an all-black relationship. And that's a scary thought, but that's what's occurring. That your child being somewhat mentally stable and not profiled, it is what it is. And until our women decide to put away that foolishness, and the first thing they need to start with is, if you really want a husband, take the weave out your hair. Show that you're serious. As long as you got that weave in your hair, that bait for fuckery, because that's what that weave is, bait for fuckery, that nobody's going to take you serious. Nobody wants you to be their wife. And until you take them lead nails off, take all that, and get rid of all of that bull crap. And be real. Take off all your camouflage that you go to war with every day. And come unarmed and watch a bunch of decent men come to you. More decent men than you ever even imagined. The minute you get rid of that shit, you're going to have more men than you could ever imagine. More of quality. Now, they're not going to all be in your age bracket, but you'll get quality versus quantity. And I think that that's the ultimate goal. Because anybody can have a bunch of assholes in their favorite five, but very few of them can have one that they can just touch and they can really rely on. So, my sisters, that's how you solve your problem. Put away the weed, put away the lead nails, put away the debauchery clothes that you're wearing. Please don't go to the supermarket in your pajamas with that plastic on your head. Stop going out in public in your pajamas. Give somebody a reason to respect you. When that man opened the door for you, how about you reach down in yourself and you get some sense of civilization and you say thank you? I mean, it's a very small thing to make the steps toward being a woman and a wife. These are small little steps. Next time a gentleman offers to take you out and you go out with him, if you really like him, grab the tip, pay half the tab, and you guarantee to see a quality man. Because everybody ain't no goddamn fool, and everybody don't believe in chivalry anymore. It's a fuck game. So if you want a decent man, how about you carry the tip? How about you pay for half the meal? How about when the white waitress come, you ain't got nothing smart to say because he looked at her? Because you better keep in mind, she working hard for a living, and that turns a lot of black men on, women who work. All right? That do a whole lot for a lot of black men's self-respect of a woman who work hard for a living. We don't really care what your title is, because we grown accustomed to not picking our women based upon what they bring to the table. We just want to know the fact that you know how to take care of yourself and you understand how the real world works, and that every time you turn around, you got your mouth open and your hand out, like somebody owe you something because they share the same color and they hated by the same white people. It's sad that you have to say these things to black American women when they come from such a large group of historical women who taught the white girl how to handle her family. Now the white girl telling you how to handle your family. White girl telling you what's a good quality man, And you laugh at the white girl, but she got the quality man. Got babies, got marriage, got houses, got everything. Brother breaking his back. But you crying he won't do nothing for you. I wonder why. I really wonder why. Can you reach down yourself and say why? All you got to do is take an ink pen and a blank piece of paper and put why. Put a question mark next to it and then number it from 1 to 10 and start thinking. And once you get to the bottom of that list, the 10 items on that list, then you'll know all the things that you got to get rid of to get you a decent man. But number 1 on that list, you start, if you really want a husband, you really want a decent man, then remove the weave. Let them see who you really are. Get rid of the fancy clothes and the makeup and the nails and everything. Let that man see who you really are. Let him know that there is some security in you and that you are not just like the wind and you will fly by, because those are the trappings of the wind. So if you want a decent man, you got to get rid of all of that shit. And until you willing to get rid of all of that shit, you ain't gonna get nothing but shit. And I'm gonna tell you, once you got a head full of shit, ain't no amount of toilet paper gonna clean that up. No amount of toilet paper. Hear what I'm saying? Going to the court, getting toilet paper, solve your problems, is not gonna solve your problems. Lance, I'm gonna have to duck out very soon. You got one more, and I got to get it.
Yes. I was thinking about having a conference call directly after this. I want to bring some people in on the line, but I know you have to go. Poor Empress Elegy didn't even have a chance to talk. She can't hear you, or she can hear you, but you can't hear her. She'll be talking afterward. But the final thing that people are going to say in the conference line, not the conference line, but the comment section, excuse me, right? I'm over here multitasking. They're going to say, Mr. Political, he's hurting over something in the past and he's a bitter man. What do you say to those who are going to say this past, present, and future?
Say that one more time.
Mr. Political is a very bitter man and he was hurt in the past and he hasn't gotten over it. This is what some people will say in the comment section. Has been mentioned in the chat room. Give us your answer. I got to be fair across the board and ask the questions pro and con.
Well, I can truthfully say that it was gargle what you asked me.
Okay, I'll say it again. Are you bitter? Are you a bitter man?
Am I a better man for what I've went through and what I've learned?
No. They said bitter, bitter, bitter. Bitter.
Am I a bitter man?
Yes.
No. Because one having an opinion about what he was treated make all black women bitter. All right? So if I'm a bitter man for showing shortcomings and fallacies in the things that I require to have a strong relationship, then I am no better than the black American woman. Because she has to keep in mind, when you throw words like bitter out there, that bitter is a two-sided coin. And that means that not only did a man do something to a woman, but a woman did something to a man. Now both parties are bitter. That's what that word means. So to even project because a person has an opinion, because a person is zero tolerance about what is occurring in relationships and he wants better and he needs to put out a message, no different than what women do in their projection of what they require and what they find displeasing to them. But if you say that a woman is bitter, see, that's where the problem is. Women think that we have no emotions, that we just evil creatures, and because we open our mouths about something that we dislike, we got to be the lesser. We got to be bitter. But if you say that a black woman is bitter about her own choices and selections of men, then I would have a problem. I would be a devious person. I would be an evil person. I would be insensitive to the plight of women. No different than women being insensitive to the plight of men. No, I'm not bitter. I'm just well informed.
Beautifully said, my brother. Beautifully said. So on the wrap up, I know you have to go. Like I said, you came out and you were very clear on how you felt, and there were a lot of opinions expressed. I did suggest that I was going to do a conference line, but since you have to go and you wouldn't be there, because I'd like for folks to eventually, maybe another time, speak with you directly over the phone in the conference line. But right now, I still want to invite some people into the show, actually. And Mr. Political, you won't be able to hear them because of the connection. You'd have to be on in the same way. I'm going to help you with that also in the future. I have to make sure to, show you how to get on that way. But I'm going to drop the link to get on the show because this is very charged situation. And I want to let everybody have their time to speak. We're going to be fair and let everybody speak or whatever. We're going to do one at a time for those who want. And if anybody sees this show in the future and wants to come back to a similar topic that they feel strong about and they want some airtime, I'll let you come on in and we'll make another show or a recorded show and put it up. So it's not like you missed the bus if you're seeing this tomorrow, next week, or even a year from now. So there's the link.
Let's have a conversation because human beings, and I didn't mean to interject last time, that was so very rude of me. When we have this conversation, marriage, and that's the only conversation that's going to save our race, really. Whether we want to accept it or not, marriage will stabilize our communities. But to stabilize communities such in that manner and to rely on that as the stabilization of our community, we must be realistic, very realistic about what the problem is, and not just put the problem on one individual group or one individual gender, but each gender has a role to play. Now, for 3 decades in this country, we have made it wholesale to tell men about their phallus and how they have to change. That this is what is required for all of us to be happy. But now that there is an open dialogue about the female shortcomings, about her falling from grace, and that she is not meeting up to the standards of what she claims she qualified to be, then it has to be something negative in it. It has to be despondency. It has to be bitterness. Right? But we never speak about the black woman and her bitterness toward her baby daddy and the woman that comes to face her. We never talk about that bitterness. We never talk about the bitterness of the woman who purposely went out there and falsified a paternity test and paternity of a child. We never say that that's bitterness. We just say that they're hurt. Okay, somebody did them wrong. But when it comes down to a man, he's bitter, he's negative, he's all these things. Just because he stands up for himself and say that this is not right, that your behavior is disgusting, that you are not the picture worth having to take. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a part of society. And all my sisters out there that find some form of hurt, see, I'm not going to be devious as my sisters can be. But if you feel slighted because somebody put your negative life on blast, then be rest assured, without hesitation, without doubt, without fear, that these slights will be continuously brought to your attention. Without hesitation, because I am a product of a system and women who told me if I do not like the way I am being treated, if I do not like the way I'm being viewed, if I feel that my net worth is of more than those who view me, then if I see something, I better say something. Well, I've seen a lot, and I'm going to say a whole lot more. and that we all as men should say something because we have something so valuable to fight for, more valuable than our lives. We have our children and the future to fight for. And if it means that we got to bring to the attention of our sisters that negative behavior propagated by the master, which they get paid to take of, because you're getting ready to get your income tax check, and you're going to get a check that say for you to hate your black men. Because if that's not the circumstances, then you wouldn't be trying to hold on to the earned income credit because you know that you're not entitled to all of it and that you didn't do it by yourself. These are things that are true. And just because my sister girls don't want to talk about it, or they don't want nobody else to talk about it, and their only response is to say, oh, he hurt, he date white women. And all those negative things that give you some kind of reprieve from your ignorance. So we're going to have this conversation again, and I wish some sisters would come in. And yes, I won't be so brutal in my observations, but I will be direct in the conversation.
Okay, my brother. I thank you so much.
All right. And y'all have a blessed day. I'm on my way out. I got some wood to chop. It's going to be chilly tonight.
Give him my regards.
They're stacking it as we speak and getting ready to take it off the truck. How you doing today, sir? So I'm going to get my wood and get everything ready, and hopefully we'll have a lovely evening tonight. Everyone's coming over. We're getting ready for a wedding. Yes, that's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing. I've had a conversation with my nephew, and he fully understands, and I've had a conversation with his bride. And she understands more than he do. So there must be some positive coming out of bringing attention to one's negative behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Wow.
It's not always negative when someone brings up your nasty, ignorant behavior. All right? So this is Miss Political. Last I love, Miss Ella. I look forward to speaking.
Yes, Mr. Political. Lance?
And I'm out.
Okay.
Thank you. Wow. Anybody want to come in? And Empress Ella G, what do you have to say about that? Even though he spoke for like an hour and 37 minutes and just came out swinging. I mean, he had some verbal Viagra or something. He just came out swinging.
Gosh, it's been an hour and a half. I don't even know where to start. I forgot half of what he said. I have to go back and read the comments. Listen, I only have one thing to say out of all of that. You remember when videos? I better work. Mr. Political. Listen, he did the work for me. I don't have to work. You remember when videos started and that group sang that song when MTV came on the scene that said video killed the radio store?
Right.
In my opinion, videos kill Black society and what we were accustomed to in the past.
That was the purpose of it.
Yeah. That is where, if Mr. Political took an hour and a half to say what can be summed up in one sentence, this is where it all stemmed from, because women never used to. Okay, that and the women's liberation movement really was the beginning of the end.
That was the softener that set it up.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
No, what were you adding to it? No, but okay, because we took on white women's fight, and that was never our fight. You understand? Because back in the day, we were respected as Black women, strong Black women who knew how to take care of our family, knew how to love our men, knew how to do what was necessary to do in the community for us and ours, right? Then these white women who were being mistreated, ill-treated, disrespected by their husbands, not being given a voice, decided that they were going to stand up and say, we're taking this no more, right? They came out with this, let's be liberated, let's do this, let's do that, did that. And what did we do? We jumped on the bandwagon. We jumped on the bandwagon, and all of a sudden, we now started disrespecting our men, right? We now could find nothing good in them. We now were looking, if they didn't have X amount of dollars in the bank, in their pocket, they were no good for us. We didn't want men who we looked at as doing menial jobs, even if that menial job was putting food on the table and keeping a roof over your head, right? And then came videos, and then came the throwing the money around, and then all of a sudden, um, we want the bag. We want men that can put us in Gucci, Poochie, Moochie, Rucci, whatever. And if you can't do that, we don't want you. And then you have the women now who, when social services came in and they could get X amount of dollars per child, well, we really don't need no men because we can now have all these babies and we can go to social service and we can get on social service and we can get this and that and that. And then if you do have a baby and you don't want the man no more, and that man is willing to help you take care of that child, if he's not giving you what you want to not only take care of the child, but to also maintain yourself and whatever other so-called lifestyle you want to have, then you're going to take him to child support, right? You're going to take him to child support so that now he can give you what you bawled in the court, and the court says, yes, this is what you need to take care of that child. Okay, this is where all of this comes from. Now, a lot of people look at Mr. Political and they say he's bitter and, he hates women. And, it can come across that way because there were a few things in there that kind of made me cringe a little bit because it just seemed like he was generalizing too much. But at the same time, um, he's an advocate for fathers. He's an advocate for men who are being mistreated by some of these women, right? Who are taking these men to court, who are lying, who are making it appear that this man has never done a damn thing for them in their life. And sometimes the mistake that men do is they don't document what they do. Okay, they might give money, but they give it in dollars. They don't give it in a check. They don't give it in something where that woman has to sign off, yes, I got $500 this month, or whatever the case may be. So when they go into court and they say, but Your Honor, I've been supporting and taking care of my child or my children, well, what's the proof? What's the proof? You have no proof. And so you get slapped with however old that child is and however many years this woman can say or will say that you haven't been paying to take care of them, right? Or take care of that child. And that's where you find yourself. So Mr. Political, being an advocate for men, he speaks from that perspective. We are the women who have given him the right to have that opinion, whether we like it or not, and if we don't like what he's saying, then it's up to us to change. Now, we as women, we can come on and we can talk about the ills that men do, and we have that right to do so. We have that right to our opinions, and we can come back and we can say, well, what about this and what about that and what about the next thing? But since we're talking about why men don't want to get married anymore, let's keep it on that level. And that's my take on it, that the industry has they're fully responsible to some degree, and social media, for the way women behave now.
Yeah, let me add on to that. I was thinking about the topic, and I kind of knew where Mr. Political, what he was going to cover, because we know Mr. Political.
Right.
And me knowing him personally face to face, he's very much a gentleman, very much respectful. I know that. But when it comes time when we get in the ring and show our skills as a fighter, and family members look and see their family member fighting, it's like, I didn't know you were so vicious. You see what I mean? Like, wow, you're capable of trying to take the next man's head off. So a lot of times when we bring up the feminist movement and social media and corporate America, how they hijacked what we created and used it against us, there's another point I want to bring up that I never brought up before. And I don't know if anybody ever thought about this before. And this will always, if we don't acknowledge this part, is going to keep us in a perpetual battle against each other and not understand why we are the way we are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, aside from social media, the corporate American takeover of hip hop culture and music, when it was pure before, and the feminist movement, we got to understand that it depends what generation we come from and what mindset we come from, because the younger generations, and I'm not blaming them, because we have a thin slice of the lower vibrational women that come from any generation. But I would say, depending on your age group and your mentality, with all the other factors of how one was raised, that has a lot to do with it. So now when you hear a Mr. Political, who is a father's rights advocate, speak on these ratchet type women, he's really not speaking of the old school women who think that way. We're not saying older women, because again, we have a certain amount of older women who think like this, right?
Yeah.
But it's not the majority. If you were born in a certain time period where things were the way they were, no matter what the problems and challenges were in the Black community, you understand him more. But if you come up in the younger generation where you absorb the social media, you absorb these images, you absorb these videos, and that took the place of a parent who had to work 2 jobs.
Yes.
That took the place going out and socializing with other children and having those manners where we didn't mind. I'm not saying me or anybody here, I'm just saying as a figure of speech. We didn't mind getting the help of distraction of social media or the TV while we got other things together, got the dinner together, and we didn't have to go out to the window every few minutes to check on our child. But back in the day, it was always a parent who was sitting on their front steps or the front stoop, as we call it in New York City.
Yes, indeed.
But now we don't have that. So we didn't understand what sense of normalcy was going to be injected into the subconscious mind of our youth. And see, we think of it that way because when we think of children, you know, I have children that were born several decades ago. In my mind, I keep forgetting that this is 2022.
Right.
And I have a wide range of daughters over a certain span of time going back. And we who are older tend to think that, that's just the other day. That's our baby. Yes, you'll always have that proximity to them. But when you have kids that are 32 and 35 and 40, they're not kids anymore. What was their subconscious mind rooted in? And collectively, to understand that this was an attack with this desired effect, just like these women young women or sisters, younger, who have adopted a wayward way. Now, there are some who get into things for business and they utilize this and utilize that, and they take that off and they say, you know what, I'm that kind of person. I'm not that kind of person. But instead of going out there and process, I'll go ahead and do it this way. I understand that. I've known many people like that. So I'm not going to characterize a whole set of our sisters just one way, but I do feel that those who are born earlier, who are a little older, who understand either it is not just the age thing, because you could have been raised up in a subpar situation and not have a high moral standard. And most of them have some kind of example, even if it wasn't in their household, but they have an example of a neighbor, or if they went to church once a week and had a ratchet household for the next 6 days, they knew how to get back in place. They knew what decency was. But many today don't know it because, again, their subconscious mind was rooted in this social media foolishness, and their lives reflect it. And the feminist movement, they don't know anything about. They're too young to know anything about. Because remember, again, we have children. If you have a child born in 1990, right? Count it up. They're 32 years old now.
Yeah.
See? So didn't get sense. You got to look at the root when they were left at home to enjoy
But
MySpace and social media, these videos.
You're right. Now, my youngest child is going to be 30. What is it? 31 this year, right?
Wait a second, 23. How did that happen?
I know. Pre-birth. I started before I got here. I said, let me hit the ground running. So I started way before I got here on this plane. But but yeah, she is rooted in that social media. I would be the parent that would be caught up in the women's lib movement, right? If I was affected by it, my position, my philosophy on it would be what would be molding her, okay? Because she would hear how I deal with her father or how I speak about other men based upon how I feel about this new culture, this new norm that I've adopted. You see what I'm saying? So yes, she has no concept of that movement, but she will get the byproduct of it based upon how I behave myself, how I conduct myself. And so I always say that our generation, your generation, my generation, we're in the same generation. I don't even know why I'm saying it like that. But we're the ones that was responsible for making sure that we imparted certain standards in our children. And if you have, for instance, me at my age, I have grandchildren. So my child that allowed me to have a grandchild who is old enough to could have fallen into the category of people that we're speaking about right now, right? If I didn't instill certain things in her, she would not have what it takes to raise a child that mimics and exemplifies the standards that I hold dear to me. It would be totally different because I wouldn't have given it to her. All right. Now, you talked about the latchkey children or the children that we have to put in front of the television, as a single mom or whatever, because we have to do what we need to do to put bread and on the table, roof over our heads, and so on and so forth. They're sitting in front of that television, regardless of what we're trying to tell them or what we're trying to teach them, and they're absorbing all of what is being portrayed on the television. Okay, they're going to school and them and their friends are now acting out. Case in point, that story you told about the mother and the two daughters and a friend or cousin or whatever, right? Here is this woman who lost her husband. They have these children and they did their absolute best to raise children a certain way, to raise them the right way, to give them morals and an upright manner of living, right? But because now her husband is gone and now she's the only person who has to go out there and make the bread to put food on the table for these girls, what do they do? They use social media and they use peer pressure and they use their friends to define who they're going to be or what they're going to be. You see what I'm saying? So it's a catch-22 thing. You can do your best, but if you have to leave your child up to some other system to help you take care of them, you run the risk of cultivating some of what Mr. Political speaks about.
That's why we got to do homeschooling and keep their young, pliable, porous minds away from everything of the enemy, because they're not going to come and just say certain things direct when they're so young. They're going to influence you They're going to pre-influence you
Yeah.
before you get to where they want to really poison you. That their minds are messed up from the first year they go into kindergarten. They're set up. The images and the subliminals.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, you know, unless we put a strong foundation in their minds of what home is, I'm not speaking about the physical house, but that home of coming back to that foundation. 99% of the time when we see what's outside in the world and it doesn't match up, we come back home.
Yeah.
I'll just use my parents as an example. They didn't hide anything from me. So when you're watching TV, and TV wasn't as vicious as it is now, but I would suggest, just like they did for me, they didn't hide anything from me. They explained to me what I was seeing because they knew I was seeing it. So they added in a narrative to make me understand it deeper as much as I could, encourage me to ask questions. So when I saw something in the street that was a bit bizarre, if I saw a man in a dress or I saw a woman with her breasts hanging out, I knew exactly what it was. So now, these days, you're not going to stop that influence from hitting your child's mind and subconscious mind, but you can buffer it. You can put on a mental and spiritual condom over their minds and in their spirit. So it doesn't take, because see, the enemy always makes what he puts out to our children to be extra sweet. It could be deadly, but it's extra sweet. What if you laced up all of the donuts and Dunkin' Donuts with poison and laid them out at lunchtime on the job for the lunch break? Oh, the company is so nice. They put these donuts out for us. That's my favorite kind right there. Pass me the one over there with the one that has the sprinkles on it. And everybody's laid out in the break room dead. But it's a time release thing, because one phase sets up the next phase, and every phase appears to be innocent, but the results are not innocent, because if you look at how things are today and how our children are who have grown now, they are young adults. Just because we look at them at a certain age and we say, oh, that's my baby, that's my kid, that's my child. The person ain't no child. Now you got to do damage control from all of the different layers that were put on them. So protect your children from the enemy. If you can, do not bring them to these schools. Like I said, find an unemployed teacher somewhere around you and get all your children together. If you can't afford the school fee, you can afford the little bit that it would take for that one teacher. I mean, it should be multiple. We understand that. But it's better to have that one and take your time and really absorb. You don't have much of a commute. Culturally, you don't have to deal with anybody calling you, saying you had a wide nose or big hips and woolly bully hair. All the little things we got to deal with when we deal with other children. And then the insecurities that they put on us because we may not have as children what the other ones have. You understand?
That's true. That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
You know, we have to protect them. And I think a lot of us are just lazy. A lot of us, you know, if you are in a position that you can homeschool, because, you know, once again, the world is such now that you rarely, it's a rarity to find a two parent household. It's almost like that's that's an abnormality. That's by design. Yeah.
And there was a time in American history when that was the norm, and white folks were the ones that had more divorces and different things going on.
Exactly. Exactly.
We can't get away from it. We've got to go back to the root. They hand us these options of all these different types of lifestyles that we can live, but it never works out. So you tell me, if in the Black community, a man can't marry a woman and they make a good choice now. We're talking about a good, solid choice. Not that, oh, he looked good at the club, so I'm going to marry him. A good, solid choice. And long term, this is the person I'm going to be with for the rest of my life. They don't encourage that. That's unacceptable in the media. But you mean a man laying in a bed with a man is encouraged? We have wedding and that's my wife and he's my husband. And these parts don't fit on any level whatsoever, mentally, physically, or spiritually. And you're going to encourage that over the original that's meant to be. You're going to take a Toyota apart and put it in a Chevrolet. It don't work.
Right.
But the thing that undergirds us, the original way for us that has been turned around quickly. It's been quick. Even if we say, let's go back to 1950, which that didn't start then, things were in the world and things were always around, but we didn't get it like we're getting it now. People say, well, it always rained. It always rained. You shouldn't complain. Well, when it rained before, I had a damn roof. Now you rip the roof off and it's raining on me. You see what I mean? The dynamics have changed. We got to go back to the original way. All this newfangled foolishness and twisted foolishness that's introduced to us as an option should be rejected. But the original way is just too corny. It's not as stimulating.
Yeah. Yep.
It's not. And just like Sister Zenobia said, women licking women. So when you start having an orgasm and getting it, like that, everything else, it's easy to say, and that's what they want. We've been genetically engineered.
For real.
Who do that? You know what I mean? All I'm saying is that, we've been removed. Have the basic. Yeah. Have the basic. The basic doesn't mean that it's not anything with no frills, but there's a satisfaction that comes with having the basic. And
exactly.
That's what it was designed to pivot on. Like when you're a fighter and you use the jab and you fight off of your right foot, you push, you use your hips to get power from you being gripped. You can't fight nobody when you're in the shower. You got no connection to the ground.
Right.
Somebody fight you slipping and sliding, you wet. You can't get no traction on your punches. I don't have to explain the dynamics of that. You'll see that. But what happened to our traction, our footing, like Mr. Political said, it undergirded the community. If we take away marriage and commitment, not just, get married, people, but the commitment behind it. And I also who may not have a piece of paper, but have the commitment.
Yes.
Why
and guess what?
Run this for everything? Why I ain't married until I have. It happens in your heart. Yes, we want the legal protection that comes with that, but that should not be scary when you're really and truly about it in your heart.
Yeah.
You're a boxing champion. You've been defending your title for 10 years, and the organization strips you and says you're not the champion no more. Well, who beat me? I am the champion. I don't care what nobody says.
Regardless.
I've been everybody in. So we got to stop depending on their approval and validation to say that our unions it happens in your heart.
That's right.
When the state takes over and the state is the child's parent, stepdaddy. The state is the father. I'm taking care of you. I'm giving you WIC. I'm giving you Section 8. I'm giving you welfare. I'm
giving you every damn thing. Yes.
When the child was conceived in the
and men need
darkness,
to go start.
You doing it. You understand? So why now? Well, they need to not have anything to do with our business, and we need to stop running to them. And we can throw blame on the modern woman and the modern man, but we got to make better choices for each other. You're investing your body. You're creating a soul tie. You're getting tangled up. Which, when you love the person, you have no mind. You no mind on that. You want to tangle up. Oh, this is a good thing. Tangle me up. Wrap me down in soul ties. I love it. You're kissing them, and what's nasty with the world is a turn on. Are you kissing the person? Ooh, the saliva tastes good. Your juices taste good. All these different things. Tie me up. It's got to happen righteously and where you really want it. There are joys to this thing. When you home and you look across the room and you see your husband or your wife in the bed sleep.
Yeah.
So vulnerable to you. And I mean, you're not no mass murderer. Protective over that. Yeah. And they're there for you. And the same things happen, vice versa. You wake up half asleep. What are you doing? Oh, I'm cooking your breakfast, whatever. Whatever it is, you know that all of their energies are for you and all of your energies are for them. So you get the benefit. You don't even have to push as hard, but then you still push hard and you become something synergistic and you can move mountains.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And
Back
you
to the
see,
original. That's all I'm saying.
a lot of us women don't understand that our men need to be respected. You understand what I'm saying? We don't know how to talk to them. Even if you're unhappy with certain things, I mean, because we're never going to be happy with everything. Neither party's ever going to be 100% happy with what the next person is doing. It's just a given, right? But you have to not let respect go out the window. Disrespect, if once disrespect comes in, especially disrespect towards a man, it kills everything. You kill his drive. You kill his desire to go out there and do what needs to be done for you. Okay? Because it's like, well, wait a minute. If you're going to treat me this way, if you're going to talk to me this way, if you're going to act this way, well, why the hell am I putting out all this energy and effort to do anything for you? That's a breakdown right there. Okay? That's a breakdown right there. Men don't know nowadays how to love a woman. Let's be real. Most men don't know how to love a woman. We're not talking about love making with a woman, even though that has almost gone out the window also, because it has come now to be, slam bam, thank you, ma'am. I can't even talk that way. Let me try. Let me
No, I don't understand it. It's like a battle or something. It's like WWF battle with fake wrestling.
Exactly. I'm gonna tear you up. I'm gonna,
Can you
it's
handle
just gonna
this?
come through your
Rock your
throat,
world.
break your back
Take your
and shit like that. We'll dig your guts out. Like,
from the vagina. You that long, you don't go inside and knock the teeth. So you done knock the heart out the way, the liver, the intestines. What kind of violent kind of
exactly.
real? I come from the old school.
And so when I don't feel loved, I don't want to do shit for you. I don't want to do anything for you. Okay? Because in my mind, that's a fucking waste of time. It's a waste of time. And I learned the hard way. Uh, you know, um, it didn't start out that way. It wasn't that way for a very long time. But when it started to get that way, hey, but you still have to have some level of respect, especially when you have children in the home, because you cannot allow your children to see you disrespect their father. Then they can see you angry, they can see y'all arguing, but they must not see you disrespecting him. Now, some men will get themselves in a shitload of trouble with their mouths, right? And what is that? You write a check your ass can't cash, or your mouth can, or you with your mouth that your ass can't cash, or whatever the hell it is,
Let your mouth
and
that your ass can't cash.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times when that happens, they expect you to jump in and, buffer them. Well, call me wrong, but my philosophy is if you opened your mouth and you can say shit, well, whatever comes back at you, you better be prepared to handle it. If you can say it, you can handle the blowback. That's my philosophy. Now, if somebody comes at my man without provocation, that's a whole horse of a different color. Sweet, nice, lovely speaking Empress Elegy is not going to be sweet, nice, lovely speaking Empress Elegy, because there's a difference, you know. Um, but we have to know how to treat each other. I almost lost my train of thought. We have to know how to treat each other. Men have to know how to love us to get the most, let me put it another way, extract the most out of us. Because when you have a juice extractor, it sucks out. Don't get don't start. It it sucks out. Like put a
Oh,
piece,
I
put.
juice extractor.
I know.
Say nothing bad.
That
Well,
juice
I'll extract
extract.
you now, but I love
I know you do, yeah, whatever. That juice extractor, you put, okay, I'm going to use a sugar cane, a stalk of sugar cane that we're trying to get the cane juice out of it,
t-shirt.
right? And
Juice
when you
extractor.
put it, when you put it in that extractor and it grinds it out, boy, I'm using all the right words today, and it grinds all of that juice out of it. What do you have left? You have trash that is almost dry. You put it out in the sun, and in 30 minutes it'll be completely dried out because all of that juice and moisture has been extracted out of it. right? Well, when a man loves a woman, truly love her in all its meanings, right? And in every form and fashion, you extract the best out of her. You get everything
Most men don't know
out
how
of
to
her.
do that.
Most women,
They just think
most men.
you throw
Mhm.
money at them, you sex them, you buy them
Yeah,
things, but you really and see a woman truly wants to be totally extracted because
yeah.
but most men don't know, and I'm not even speaking the jokey sexual way, right?
No, we understand.
Most men don't know the sweetest of juices that lie deep within her.
Exactly.
It down to her soul, down to
Hmm.
when you make a woman feel that pleasant ache of true love and commitment
Oh
and
my God.
security,
Oh
that
my
ache
God.
in her heart where she's
Hmm.
sitting there saying, damn, not
Hmm.
just the physical house, but damn, I'm
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
I'm safe here.
Yep.
Man ain't all over the place. He's here. And there's a
Yep.
momentum that you get, an accumulation where you know, and it's a bell that goes off in your head on deeper levels, not just the first initial thing that just makes you feel that ache, a pleasant ache. Now,
Yep.
there are many young men and many young women who don't know that from young. Me, the way my parents treated me and raised me, I'm sitting there in my room saying to myself, oh man, the food tasted good. I feel so safe. I'm having so much fun. I love being here. That pleasant ache. So for the woman who experienced that also, and even if you didn't experience that as a child, we do seek that out again as an adult. So when you feel that ache again, it's the same qualities, but amped up with a few more things wrapped around it because you're not a child saying, boy, I feel so good. I just got, made love to, whatever. It's not just about that. It's the overall thing where you know you belong,
Hmm.
you know you're appreciated,
Hmm.
you appreciate your partner, you look at your children, and you know that's us. We
Hmm.
made this is our thing
Hmm.
instead of
Yeah.
other way of thinking, well, these are my children, nigga, you get out, I don't need you. Where did that come
Exactly.
from? Well, that's what we're
Exactly.
speaking about. But how are you going to have that pleasant ache? I'm not getting on just the women, but I have to say it right now for those who think that way. The more you say that is the more you will reject or never find that feeling on the inside
Hmm.
that seems like a foreign language to you because the very way you've allowed yourself to be constructed is diametrically opposed to that. And you'll never
Exactly.
get that. So when you see a man and a woman together in unison, the
Hmm.
only thing you can do is look and to see what cracks are in their armor.
Hmm.
He might turn around and look at a car that's passing by that they plan on buying, and he swings his head around, and here you go thinking, yeah, he ain't really with her. He trying to look at my butt. You
Mm-mm.
understand? See,
Mhm,
so your
mhm.
wiring mentally keeps you away from anything like that because it's cemented into because of the stimuli given to you in your formative years, or
Right,
it could be a traumatic event where
right.
I think Shanika X said she didn't ever want to be married again, but she clarified it and said she don't want the government up in her business. Well, you know what?
Exactly.
It shouldn't matter. Now I know there's certain so-called legal protections but they say that, but it's not really about the legal protections. They just want to be up in your stuff to
Mhm,
profit from the
mhm,
time that you divorce and break
mhm.
up. That's why we need to take a longer time. And I use my life as an example. I should have waited until whatever year I think I should have waited to because I was not ready. I was ready for sex. I was ready to talk. I could even be a good man with you. But there's a
Mhm.
certain level of it that, on a chronological level, it's different for different people. There is no one way to
Mhm.
develop. We're all different depending on our environments and our family. And but black
Right.
folks, overall, especially in America, me, I can see it. I'm not knocking because I'm over here. No, but we get it usually later, especially for the children these days. They get it. And I say children, I'm not talking about
Yeah.
the kids
Yeah.
get this. but the ones who we think are still kids, but they're 30 and 25. So for us who are a certain age, that's just the other day. But for them, they ain't thinking like that. And that's what made them the way they are. Our
Right.
roots are different. And you still have good families, but you better be there with them every step of the way, because all of the stuff that's dished out in the world for them to absorb is very, very, very sweet. I didn't
There
say
you
it was
go.
good. I said it was sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Poison can
Mm-hmm.
taste good. That doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean it's good for you. It doesn't mean it's conducive
Exactly.
to great health. So there's a lot of poison out here that's pushed on us through these very attractive mediums because it's very stimulating. Remember when we had basic toys, AFX cars,
Mm-hmm.
little hockey games with a little disc floated on air, and you had this little board and you hit from one side to the other, or even board games, whatever, that brought
Right.
us together in a social kind of way. But this smartphone to a kid, a
Mm-hmm.
child, is an adult toy. It's a toy that can stimulate and go right. Look, a smartphone to a child who's not disciplined enough or raised in a certain way to see it a certain way is a cerebral crack pipe, because you can give them that smartphone. They don't want nothing to do with little cars. They don't want to
Nope.
go out there and skip.
Matchbox cars are a thing of the past.
I know that. I'm willing to bet that the sale of basketballs and footballs and stuff like that, baseballs and bats, those sales are down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quite sure in certain neighborhoods where the family unit is still intact, they still want to go out and do that. But in the hood, you ain't seeing that much.
Mm-hmm.
People are inside on their phone. Everybody looking down. They won't bow their head to play, but they'll bow their head to the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And their mind is caught up and they're absorbing things at such a fast rate. You got to understand that a child like 3 and 4 and 5 years old, the story that I always talk about, here you are as an adult and you get a smartphone and you pull it out the box, you have it charged up after a while, you have the instructions in one hand on the table, and you look at, and you can't get it. And here
You're
you go, hand it to
intimidated.
some 8-year-old. They're watching TV. I can't get this. And they snatch it out of the hand. Okay, what you want to put in there, mommy? Put your name, blah, 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 blah. And they do all. Wait a second. You didn't even look at the instructions. Oh, that's easy because that's what they're used to dealing with.
Yeah.
See? So it's a different time, but that does have an effect on their mind because they absorb so much. And what they absorb in the solitude of their own room when you're in the kitchen, you think in the old school,
oh, Jesus. Yes, indeed.
They're on punishment. They're laughing at you because if you put them on punishment and have a phone in there, their minds are really being tainted.
Not on
and
punishment.
are satisfied immediately. See, we used to have to wonder about sex. And I found my brother's magazine, and it was softcore. And it's look at this. That's what a woman got between. I used to think it was just hair between a woman's legs. Them old, player magazines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now you can go on your phone and learn all. Look, I thought I was something that back in the 1970s and got a hold of some magazines that I knew what a gag ball was. I was advanced. I thought S&M and B&D and anal sex and oral sex and cum shots and she swallowed. I was the champ. I knew everything. But now you're seeing it. And now we got a bizarre thing going on even more so. Not just to blame the sex in the smartphone, but also understand that there's a spiritual transferal of energy over that smartphone when you're watching porn. Let's on porn now. When you're looking at a plain still magazine don't have that effect. But when you have that blue light coming at you and you're looking at stuff in motion, let me tell you something. You beating off looking at porn, you getting a soul tie with that person also. Right? Now, what if that's old porn from back in the 70s, the person's dead now? You still getting a soul tie with somebody dead. So why you think you have all things and we are kinky now, we're open, and you got to be careful what you desire. It may not be coming from you. You might be looking for something else, putting this in your mind. And then now that's not good enough. Then you get more. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, every time, let me tell you, to be honest, I'm not even going to say, but I was, in a hetero way. I never did no homo stuff, but I was out there. You think I'm out there now by the things that I was out there. I can tell you any kink or any what and explain it and make you understand it because I was there not just once or twice, but I lived that.
I forgot
And
to
it's
ask you
almost
some questions.
huh? Say it again.
I'm gonna have to ask you some questions.
Well, I got to be careful how I answer because I don't want to inoculate you with some twisted thing. You know what I mean? It's like, look, I'm like
Inoculate me.
that dude that did drugs all my life, and I know every conceivable high with every combination of drugs, and I don't want to really tell you the whole thing because you might get curious. But I know them pleasures, and what? The biggest thing is not to deny, but just stay away from things
Right,
that okay,
right.
no, I ain't gonna go around that no more because that's too powerful. I know where the edge is, and I ain't about to fall. But I've been to the brink of madness, and so what I'm saying with these children who watch these smartphones and get titillated in a certain way, and it hits parts of their brain that are not supposed to be stimulated that way.
Right.
Your body may start to feel things. You know, when you're a little boy, and you walk around the house, you don't know. And you're not thinking anything sexual. I'm not saying you walk around naked in front of anybody, but your little penis might be a little more erect. And the parents thought, oh, watch out for him. He's going to start making babies. But he don't know what's going on. He's not even ashamed. It's just normal to him.
Yeah.
I remember I used to be hard and like it's a strange feeling down there, but I didn't associate it with boobies and titties and ass and vaginas and whatever. The minute that happened, it was all over. So they get hit the other way. And with the stimulation of their bodies, they wash themselves between the leg and they kind of feel good, but they ain't nothing because they don't know to keep going and bring it to. And so what would a child think if they were bringing themselves? How could they bring themselves to orgasm? Ain't nothing to think about. You don't know nothing. You know what I mean?
True.
But when you have this stuff in your head, you're reenacting these scenarios. That's what it's all about. So it's putting their head early. So they doing things. Let me tell you something. There's some kids out. Okay. I'm not going to say her name, but do you all remember the little girl that came when I was by the anthill? We all know the story. When she came to the house all dressed up in a way that was like, let you know I'm coming there to do something because I want some money out of you. I saw her a couple weeks ago. Wouldn't you believe?
No.
And on her back, there was a child.
No.
Did I tell you?
No.
And I'm looking at her. I mean, like, you know how they put them on the back here in Africa and have it or whatever. And so I said, that's your child? And she shook her head. Yeah. I'm like, wait a second.
What?
Last year she was 17. Yeah, but I'm saying it's no big thing.
But wait a minute. Hold up.
Her, yes. The one where everybody donated.
How young is the child? Brand new?
Got under 2 years old, like year and a half, maybe. I don't know, but like young like that. Yeah.
So she had that child when she was coming to you.
Right. A little before that, possibly.
Right.
It was just like a year yet, but she, yeah. And there are a lot who, see, here it's different though. It's different here. That's encouraged. Like, have your children young, whatever. But, and then you have the different socioeconomic levels where if you got all this yard space, you got all this mango, you got all these yams, you got all this food ain't a problem.
So
you got all this property, you can build another structure and you live over there and I live over here. My aunt takes care while you go to school or your grandmother or your whatever. Everybody helps everybody. There's always a pot cooking on the property. So you don't have to work. It's a different mentality. And plus it's looked down upon, not that they're going to say have it that early, but it's looked down upon if you get to be 30 years old, you don't have at least 4 or 5 kids. Not with everybody, but that's the basic traditional kind of way it's always been. So the same thing now, you so-called hood in America where things are hard. You got to go get money. You got to pay a babysitter. The family structure has been broken down. So you got to pay that babysitter. Now you're going to get money for that, which is a whole lot. And if you don't have any skills or any kind of career where you're making a sizable amount of money, that little money you make from the fast food joint or whatever little menial work, maybe you make a little more. Maybe you do have something good, but it's not enough. And it's looked down upon. Look at her. But here it's like, oh, she's a fertile young lady with having kids. And, when you get to a certain age, you have your helpers when you're up and you don't have to be too old to have it that way. You already have a couple you're 18, 19 years old, 3 or 4 kids by the time you're 39,
That's
you have a business, you
crazy.
got people who are adults helping you and they're your kids. So it's different. It's
But that's
different.
crazy. So all of this, I need money for school. I don't need no money for school. You need money to
Mhm.
go buy milk for your baby. You need money to feed your
That's what I'm trying
child.
to say. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's why when I saw her a couple times, even before that, the look, like
Hmm.
those looks shouldn't have been headed my way.
Right.
I know the difference. It's
Right.
little flirty looks, like innocent, whatnot. So I'm supposed to make the next move on a child.
Hmm.
Your child.
Hmm.
How many babies you have?
Right.
I'm off the shelf anyway. So I mean,
Hmm.
and then, but see, that's another thing I found that doesn't matter here either.
Hmm.
It's almost like, and I'm not putting anybody down. And it's kind of off topic. I'm gonna have to go soon anyway. I'll let you have the last word. But like, I can be your woman.
Hmm.
I'll be with you. I'll marry you. Take care of me. Which
Hmm.
I really can't get that, because at least they're saying that. And if you are able to, you can have their love, which is
Right.
kind of like, so if you love me or you like me, that means if I don't have any money. So it's not really about the love, it's about the money. No, but they're gonna make
Hmm.
sure they get security first. And I can't be mad at that, because a lot of our sisters elsewhere, not just America, I'm not gonna just knock Black American women. I'm just saying a lot of our sisters there, oh, I love him, and I this and I that. And then they don't have the security, and not in a bad spot because the guy ran off.
Hmm.
But then again, it could be too much to the extreme where up front with it, oh, you got to pay for this, so and so. Those sisters out here ain't saying
Exactly.
that. It's like this building. If you want to
Right.
build something, show what you are on the resume. Show me your resume. Show me, and we can do this. Really and truly, as you get older and you look at yourself, I'm not you, just anybody here, anybody, but just we're better off mentally now.
Hmm.
Hopefully, if we've learned from our mistakes and misjudgments than we
Right.
were 20 years, 30 years ago, because
Right.
we know it's more practical. Maybe you may have been the kind of woman to see a man at the nightclub and he's all glitzed up, has a nice car, and the women are around him say, wow, he must be something handsome dude, well built, got money. And you're not thinking about other things, right? And then
Hmm.
now you'll dig deeper, and you now that janitor or that maintenance man who didn't have the flash, he
Hmm.
drove a truck that could have been replaced, but you didn't know that he was saving, he was investing, he was a
Get to
landlord
know
one
them.
time,
Hmm.
two or three
Hmm.
times over, and in a 20-year span, he has amassed, I'm not going to say multi-millions or whatever,
He could
but
have.
he is so
Hmm.
secure that when he retires early, right? Because he's been getting up at the crack of dawn to do that job, but not just the job, but other things. But
Hmm.
he wasn't at the club when he was 20 and 19 years old, 21. He had the same money that he could have purchased that flashy vehicle, but he didn't. He socked it away in some investments, saved
Hmm.
for some profit, and did it low key. He may not
Hmm.
even have been as handsome. He may not have had the nicest body, but he's a smart man who would cherish a real woman and not bring you the heartache that flashy dude at the club who's used to having all these women would do to you.
You have to
He's
have
not
a
a
little
broke.
bit of looks though. Just a little teensy weensy weensy bit of
But what I would say though, is that man who
I'm
may not have
joking.
the looks,
I'm
that as
joking.
he got older, he
Hmm.
looked better and
Yeah.
better and better to
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
because of the principles in which he stands on.
Yes.
So when you have these young guys who are focused on this pretty boy thing, they can be the typical pretty boy, but if they're focused on that, that's not really a good investment
Right.
unless they change
Right.
from that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
it's just so much to it on how we see things.
That's right.
But to make the investment over time and the commitment in the Black family and all that we are, it's unraveling. And this is the
Hmm.
results of it. And it's almost like a free fall. Like when you see on the movie how that elevator cable popped and the elevator is flying down. And the taller the building, the more momentum and speed it gets as gravity grips it and pushes it down more. You think you can just put one hand out and stop that momentum? You
No
should have
way.
stopped it from being broken and breaking for the free fall.
Right.
And I feel
Right.
that in many ways, the Black community is in a free fall, but those of us who think a certain way are not. So what we got to do is take care of ourselves and work along with people who are like-minded. Whoever else wants to change their thinking, let them
Yeah.
change. If you don't want
That's
to
right.
change, expect the free fall because
Yeah.
it's happening.
But
It's been happening for time.
what I'm noticing, even on some of these social media platforms, I don't know if anybody else can say they're seeing it. I feel like the up and coming generation of young people, the ones that are in their 20s now, mid 20s coming on up, I feel like there's a shift that's happening. I feel
Oh, there
like
is.
that ratchet behavior is diminishing. I feel like marriage it seem if you give it another 10 years, you're going to see where marriage is becoming, and I don't use this word lightly, becoming vogue again. It's what people want to do now. People want to be in a relationship.
For those
They
who want to come
want to,
home,
yeah,
they want to
you
come home
know,
what they were raised for. We ain't talking gay
exactly. No, no, no,
marriage.
no, no. We're talking righteous heterosexual relationships, having children, both of you working together to create um a legacy. I'm seeing a lot more. I feel like a lot more people are understanding how to use social media now, not just to show off your body, not just to, have OnlyFans. You still have those, and we have to recognize that a lot of those people, they've been messed up mentally also, you know.
And can never
Um
come back. There's always a
yeah,
chance, but you just don't know. You can reach out to them all you want, but unless they come up from the
they have
inside,
to
so
right, they have to know that they're messed up. They have to recognize that they need help. you know and
and
that's
now
why I
they're
said,
dressed up and
hmm, what you said?
now they're dressed up and messed up. They make the outside look good and messed up on
Hmm.
the inside.
Exactly, excuse me, exactly, but I'm seeing a shift. It's not a huge one, but if you pay attention, you see that more younger, the next generation of older people that are coming, they're wanting a different dynamic. They're wanting a different narrative. They want back that respect. They want back that what's the word? Pride in themselves and in their
And
relationships and in what they can do.
that
Huh?
the status. I mean,
Yeah.
marriage has been
Yeah.
so degraded. Like
Yeah.
even men that are out there and their
Mhm.
approach might be a little basic, and they see a
Mhm.
stately young lady who is not kept like a side woman, but
Mhm.
preserved and kept and nourished. It's a different carriage. It's a different look.
Mhm.
That even if the men, when she walks into the store, maybe she stopped by the corner store and there's dudes out there, even if they don't know her, there's a different spirit she has that even if initially they say, oh, damn, who's this? And they may not see the ring on
Right.
the finger because she may not believe in rings or whatever. It's just the spirit thing. And they say,
Exactly.
one step forward to say something, and he knows. He just not gonna come out, hey baby, what's your name? First thing out this guy's mouth, even though he may be low vibrational, yeah, sister, you married? Because the way she
Mhm.
carries herself, you don't see that spirit of I'm out there. I know y'all looking at my
Flirtatiousness.
butt. I know you don't
Yeah.
want to get with me, whatever.
Mhm.
She carries herself in a stately manner, and they could
Right.
sense there's a certain frequency that's not coming off of her. Now, even then,
Exactly.
they will still try sometimes. But when she says, even how marriage has been degraded, when a woman says she's married, these dudes come back. You know what they come back and say? Well, are you happily married? Which
Are you
means that
happy? Yeah.
because them lips looking kind of juicy. So they
See,
don't even
because
have any
that's
knowledge
that's the
of what
base
they're saying.
level, isn't it? That's just the baseness.
Yeah,
They think
that's
that it's
they
all
are
about
business.
sex, you know?
Exactly. But see, they wouldn't know to do that unless they had some kind of success with that line.
Well, that's true
You see what I
too.
mean?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it is both ways, but we don't see that as much. That when we see, no matter how good the woman looks, you are not going to disrespect. And even when she says she is married, the righteous low vibrational dude, because you have some low vibrational men who have some sense, they just like to wallow in that lower vibration. They are apologizing. Oh, I'm sorry, baby. Oh, I'm sorry, girl. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean. Oh no, I don't know. Disrespect. No, no. And they ain't trying to throw that vibe at you
Mhm.
anyway. And if they help you to your car or whatever, they're not still trying you. They're like trying to make up for trying. Listen, I didn't mean nothing by that. I help you with your groceries, but and then they go and they see the man with her later on. Hey, brother, how you doing? You have a good wife. Whenever she's out here, we're gonna look out for her. Whatever. You know what I mean? That's the way it used to be.
Right.
Yeah. And then the man, he knows, like, yeah, I know you probably tried now.
Nowadays, they wanna shoot and kill a woman just for saying no, I don't, or just for not giving them the answer that they are looking for. You reject them, and they want to kill you, or they want to curse you till your clothes fall off of you.
And some of the men and some of the violator type men who get off on violating a saintly woman. And I'm not gonna say just because but when she's the real deal and committed. Because the piece of paper don't mean anything. And a lot of times you have women, I'm not throwing off on any women here or anywhere else, but a lot of times you have that woman who raised hell all her life. And really all she wants is a piece of paper to say someone married me. So I can lie to myself, even though I still may have the Jezebel spirit, that I can use this as a shield and cover, and I can go undercover with my dealings now because it really don't mean nothing. It's not even about the piece of paper. It should be about that commitment to that person.
Yeah.
That if you really have it like that with another person and it's a mutual thing and one transitions, you have the right to, if things happen, but how are you going to be with somebody for so long and they transition and you jumping up in something as a man in the next 2 weeks? Did you not have a connection with this woman? And you're allowed to within reason, but I don't even think you should be thinking that way. You should still be committed to her and feeling her and thinking about her and missing her. And as soon as she body ain't even cold yet, and you check it out
somebody else.
And check it out. I know he gonna get some insurance money. They worked hard to get that big little mini mansion they got, and they kids are grown and living in different states. I'm gonna be, baby, I'm so sorry. Your loss, whatever. Later on, dinner, and sure they want to feed you. See, so there's all these games, but yeah, anyone would like to know, like, there should be a certain time,
right?
Even if the person transitions, if you had that, now if you're married for 2 weeks, it may not be, you know what I mean? But you should have had that before to be the real thing. There should be no time limit or some time projection. But if you married for so many years and you really, really, really into the person, there should be no way. Maybe you'll masturbate and look at the pictures that y'all had when you was naked or something. I don't know. But it's about that person and your feeling should, you're understanding that they're physically not here anymore. You might want companionship. It's a different thing after that it should be. You want companionship that can turn into something that may turn. If it doesn't, it's okay. But on a light level. So let's just prove a point. You live next door to these other people that are a couple, they committed. You're committed. You both are committed. Committed. There's no peeping out the window. Damn, she got a nice ass. None of that stuff. Respect, commitment, and the both of a mate dies on each side. So here you are, man, and the next one over there, and you mourning them. You miss them. So does that mean, well, we trying to jump into bed with each other now? So no, but you might still spend time with each other in your mourning and feel the need for companionship with other people on the outside. Say, oh, I know they getting busy now. It may not be that way. What if you're that 80-year-old man and that 80-year-old woman who are widowers and widows now, and you meet each other and you spend time because you have a lot to talk about, the generation you came up in, and you decide to get married. And like I said, look, she might take her top off with her 80-year-old titties, and you'll never see them sometime. Maybe in the reflection of the dresser, because it's not about that. She hide it from you, but when you lay in the bed and talk and tell your stories and laugh, you might just be holding hands or hug, and that's orgasmic because of the connection you have righteously.
Right.
There's just so much to it. And see, we talking about righteous stuff, and the porn bots are coming.
I see that. My gosh.
But it doesn't mean you can't have anyone else afterward. All I'm saying, if what you had meant something, it's like a smooth landing of an airplane. 3 days later, after your mate, your husband or your wife is put in the ground, you up in somebody else's face.
That
That's
can't
wrong to me.
work. That can't work. That
There's
means that
nothing
that person didn't mean anything to you.
exactly. So
Probably was just waiting for the day when that, you didn't want to leave them, but you just, no, that's
mm,
crazy. Mm-mm.
well,
Mm-mm.
I gotta run in a little while. Just if you wrap it down, and we'll continue
Oh.
this again. And then I do want to go on a conference call eventually and have everybody call in and they can talk with
Hmm.
them directly. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, we kind of said everything. Bottom line, since we're talking about women, we just have to look at ourselves. We have Sister Sandra talking about the traumas that can affect us, that can make us do certain things. Reevaluate your lives, reevaluate yourself seriously. Be honest with ourselves and men. Because you're not going to get off scotch free. We're going to have to wind up doing something why women don't want to be married. You know, you know what I mean? Because I think
Of course.
we all need to clean up our act. We all need to clean up ourselves. We all need to change our vocabulary, change the dialogue, change the way we talk to each other. you know Start making love with your words, start making
Change
love
your
with your
thoughts.
actions. You know what I mean? Yeah. Listen.
I
Let's
can't
get
go
back
too
to
long.
some.
It's
I
crazy.
know, I know you can't. I know. Let's get back to some righteous music. you know Music that makes you want to love the person you're with. Music that shows you what you have in that
We're gonna
mate,
have to go to
in
old
that
school.
partner. I know we're gonna have to go old school. Well, you know what? Let's revisit those. That Aretha Franklin song. What's it called? I'm only one step. I love that song, and oh my God! Now that I want to tell you who it is, I can't think of his name anymore. Anyway, but he redid it. He did a remix um of that song. Y'all look up Aretha Franklin's song. I'm only one step away from heartache. That is a beautiful song for people who um you think that things are not going right for you, and you can't work things out. Now there are situations where you just get to a point where there's no such thing as working anything out anymore, and it is what it is. But if it's not that bad, things can always be worked out. Respect, respect, respect. Love, love, love. Respect yourself, respect your man, respect your woman. Love yourself enough to want to, change, to want to do the right thing. Love your man so that you can love your man into changing. You can't change him yourself. Don't ever try to change a man, but you can love that man enough that they recognize that what they have in you, they will never have in somebody else, and they will change if they want to change for you. You understand? So that is basically what I have to say on this topic. And something trauma. They keep saying, they keep putting out there that trauma makes people too nice or whatever. Don't get too caught up in that. If you're a nice person and you're a giving and you're a loving person, and it brings you joy to give and to take care of someone, then do what you do. Do what you do. Nobody can take advantage of you unless you allow them to take advantage of you. So if that's who you are, be who you are. I'm done.
All right. So yeah, we'll definitely be back on tomorrow. Got a few little extra treats.
Yeah.
I'll put out, look out for it, get the notifications and stuff, and all those good things. You know the drill. And we'll be back.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Thank you guys. It was beautiful to see all the comments. And once we got rid of the foolishness and the people who didn't know how to be mature and express themselves in a mature manner, we got rid of them. The dialogue, everybody had their, agreeing and opposing opinions. And that's what it was all about. It was opinions. Everybody comes with a different perspective on the topic and on the things
And
that
it's
Mr. Political
the way
had to say.
you know
Hmm?
you gotta show respect, but you don't have to agree. You can
Exactly.
you know vehemently disagree. Doesn't matter. You could be passionate. You could be.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to express oneself, but just to box
Exactly.
people into one thing. This is why even when I kind of forget sometimes, and I say this, and I say, oh, I hope they know. I hope they understand that I'm not saying all but some. All but some. I have to say that to myself all the time. But this will say, like, a young lady came in early and she said, my Dominican friend said that she doesn't date black men. Okay, so what about the black men that are in great marriages who are good men? You can't say all. And then when she said, my friend who's Dominican, I'm not throwing off on all Dominicans, but we have a lot of Dominicans who think that's a separate race, that they don't have African in them. You know what I mean? They got the traits of a black person, and a lot of them are mixed up, but they don't want to be that. So we just say that, But I've known some nice Dominican young ladies, whatever, who know what time it is. So you can't say everything. But when we talk on these things,
can't generalize.
We're right. We're not saying all, but we're speaking on those who are. Take the good from it and leave what you may think is bad or irrelevant to your life.
Right.
Exactly. Anyway, sweetheart, we're gonna
yes,
get out of here.
indeed. Thank you. Oh, by the way, real quick. Mental health is no joke. You see the ex beauty queen and the commentator, or the what do you call it? She's on Extra. She's also a commentator on Extra. There's another word. I'm losing my words. She committed suicide. She jumped out of a 29th floor building. I mean, out of her 29th floor apartment.
Well, look at that. I was about to do a rooftop after that. I said, maybe there's some kind of demon spirit pushing people off the top of the building. I don't know. I'm not making fun of it. I'm just saying,
stay off of that damn rooftop today.
All right.
I expect to hear from you later on.
I ain't trying. I got too much to do. You know what I mean?
Do you know what, Sweet D? You know what, Sweet D?
I just have to be a big bag of broken bones, and I'll just heal up and come on back. I'll be blogging from the house. One of them girl show talk about my every part bandaged up.
You'll be in a full body cast, but you'll be doing the show.
Daggone right. You all know me. Only malaria knocked me down for 5 days, and that was
indeed. Yes, indeed. I feel like Sweet D. I thought about that. Like, did they give her an offer she couldn't refuse? That's all I always say, because she wrote some note and left everything to her mother. Why would I even know that you're putting your mother in the most extreme heartache imaginable to begin with, and then you're going to write her a note and say, I leave everything to you, mama? Come on. Something to sound right, but we still don't know if it was a mental issue thing or if it was a situation thing. We just don't know. But anyways, thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much, Brother Lance. It's always a pleasure. And Mr. Political, you brought it again, and you had the dialogue going, and we appreciate you for that. Yes, indeed. Take care, sir. Did he fall off? Did he fall off? It sounds like Brother Lance fell off. Oh my God, please. We got to have some music, so please come back. Lance. What just happened? Oh. Hold on a second, guys, because this cannot absolutely not be what's happening right now. Can't. Not after we just had such a really great show. I know. I don't understand what happened. Hang on, guys. Hold on.
Looks like all right here. Sun is rising, feel the warmth of my face. There's a lot to do now, but there ain't no race. I sip my coffee, I'm feeling fine. No need to work yet, I'm gonna take my time. It's a brand new day. Gotta take it on my way. Gotta take it on my way. It's a brand new day. Gotta take it on my way. Gotta take it on my way. Take a look out my window. See the birds in the trees. Their songs inspire me to sing a sweet melody. How do they do it? Not a care and so free. Wanna step into their world. Who holds the key? It's a brand new day. Gotta take it on my way. Gotta take it on my way. It's a brand new day. Gotta take it on my way. Gotta take it on my way. Oh no. My Lord is I lost my love. They gonna move to the groove. Out of rhythm. My Lord is I lost my love. They gonna move to the groove. I my Lord is I lost my love. My Lord is I lost my love. They gonna move to the groove. I Lord is I lost my love. They gonna move to the groove. I my Lord is I lost my love.
Why are we called Negroes? Why are we deaf, dumb, and blind? Why is everybody making progress, yet we seem to be lagging so far behind? Why are we mistreated? Why are we in this condition, stripped of our name, our language, our culture, our God, and our religion? Here in America, all of our religious training has been gotten by the preacher. He has told us of a heaven way up in the sky that we can't enjoy now, but rather after we die. But all of the years that we're living, for us there's nothing but hell, pain, torture, and misgiving. Yet the Bible speaks of a heaven filled with material luxury, which the white man and the preacher has right here, so we see. So my friend, take it for what it's worth. Your heaven and your hell is right here on this earth. So let's check back into history, which rewards all research and tells us plainly that before the white man gained entry to the East, he was living in the caves of Europe, a ravenous beast, eating juniper roots and eating flesh raw, till God sent Moses to civilize him and teach him the law. Then following Marco Polo, an explorer, he gained entry into Asia and Africa. From China, he took silk and gunpowder. From India, he took jute, manganese, and rubber. He raped Africa of her diamonds and her gold. From the Mideast, he took barrels of oil untold, raping, robbing, and murdering everything in his path. The whole black world has tasted of the white man's wrath. So, my friend, it's not hard to tell. A white man's heaven is a black man's hell. Before we came to America, we were living in the East. By the Nile River, we were living in luxury, enjoying freedom, justice, and equality. We wore silken robes, slippers of gold. We were the When the white man came to America, he told the Indian, I am your white brother. He said, red man, I'll treat you the best. Yet and still he pushed the Indian further west with his white woman and fire water. Tricks and lies, he stole America. The original owner of this nation is cooped up on a reservation. So my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven, black man hell. He needed someone to work the land. His back was too weak. He needed you, black man, so he commissioned Sir John Hawkins to commit the worst, most grievous sin, to take a man who's born to be free and bring him down to slavery, to sell a man as merchandise. On his body put a price. Oh, my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven is a black man hell.